The community member asked, why do some HR don't know how to differentiate professional interactions and casual interactions? Now, I don't know if I can take the the fall for all HR professionals, but I actually do agree with you. The other question that we got was, why the unfair recruiting procedures, especially for entry level? Now, I'm assuming that the question around entry level is because these days, when you look at a role, like entry level has moved from zero experience to 1 to 3 years of experience, and you're there wondering, you're a fresh graduate and you don't know where you're going to find these opportunities, or you don't know where you're going to find the experience, rather. Yeah. So I would say take advantage of internship. It's really important for you to understand what are your rights, especially in a PAP setting. It is very difficult for an employee, especially in the Kenyan context, for you to be fired based off of performance. The company needs to establish without any reasonable doubt that they did all that they could to help you within the 6 months period for you to improve your performance, which includes training, having a mentor, your supervisor assessing your performance during that time, whether the goals set were objective, whether they were, they could be achieved within that period. It is the responsibility of the employer to demonstrate that they actually did everything possible for you, and you just couldn't improve on your performance. Hello everyone, welcome to this week's video. If you remember, last week we had a Q&A on Instagram. We also did a post on YouTube asking you, if you had a HR bestie, what would you ask them? So this is just the beginning of our new series that you're adding on to our success story series. And because I'm a HR professional, I want you guys to ask me questions that you'd normally not ask your HR officer or your HR manager at your company. So hence the reason as to why, if you had a HR bestie, what would you ask them? Now, I'm so glad that many of you commented. You asked loads of questions, and we are going to go through them one by one. But before we can actually get to responding to these questions, let us first start with housekeeping. If you're new here, my name is Lorraine and I am your host. I'm so glad to be here. I've said this numerous times. I love to receive feedback. So give me a thumbs up if you're finding this video to be educational, you're finding value in this, because that is how you're communicating to me that you're actually finding value. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you can get informed when you post another video. So let's go to those questions. Let us start with question number 1. And these we got from YouTube. So one person asked, how do I structure and articulate my responses that would highlight my relevant experience? Also, how do I keep the nerves out of the window when interviewing? I need one immediately. So nerves are part and parcel. I'm not going to say that, you're not going to feel nervous after you've done, 5 or 10 interviews. You're still definitely going to feel nervous. I still get nervous when I'm interviewing for a role, yeah? But what I do is practice breathing practices. So you do breathe in, breathe out 5 times. You count 5 backwards to 1, and it somehow helps. What I also find that helps me when I'm feeling nervous is, 1, do I know the content? So have I gone through the job advert? Do I feel comfortable in the task and responsibilities that they're asking of the potential employee? If I don't feel comfortable with that, then you go ahead and do research. Make Google, make YouTube be your friend. So, and even AI, so use that to kind of get familiar with what exactly they're asking of the person. So that is 2. And 3, just self-confidence. I don't know how I can put that. So yeah, just be confident in your capabilities and have that belief that you can actually get the job done. Yeah. The question was in 2 parts, and I think that answers it. So For you to be able to structure and articulate your responses, again, it comes with practice. These are one of the things that, this is one of those things that you get better at it with practice. So you can do practice interviews. You don't necessarily have to come and do an interview prep with us. Take out your phone, go on to ChatGPT or another AI tool, prompt it, let it give you interview questions, then pull out your phone, record yourself, and listen to yourself. Do you have filler words? How can you avoid those? So I think, just practice makes perfect. So practice, practice, practice. So let's move on to question number 2. And this member of our community asked, I would ask her, what preparations should one make in order to pass the interview easily? Now, this is very intentional of you, first of all, so congratulations on that. I would say, you know what, go through the job advert once again. There is so much power in how you present yourself after you know and you're confident in what it is that you're bringing to the table. So I cannot overemphasize that. So read the job advert carefully. Try and find out what exactly they're looking for. Do you have that? What is the company culture like? What business are they in? Try and find out, is it a fun culture? Because that also influences how you're going to be showing up. Is it a fun culture? Is it a serious culture? And then show up and let your personality also come through. So let us move on to the Instagram questions that we got. The very first question that we got on Instagram was, how do you transition from a government of Kenya role to an NGO remote job? I say, for you to have been in government, there is some level of privilege that you have. Now, hear me out, don't lose me. There's some level of privilege that you have because, one, it means that your basic needs are actually taken care of, and you do have some level of time. I'm assuming that you do have some level of time. Are there NGO remote companies? Absolutely. So what you want to identify is, you in the government setting, what are your skills and capabilities at the moment? Are you in accounting? Are you in HR? And perhaps this should have been a follow-up question. So which function are you in? Are you in project management? Are you in M&E? And do you have transferable skills from your current role into the NGO? What I'm seeing a lot of opportunities in the NGO is communications. We're also seeing a lot of opportunities as project managers, and project coordinators, program managers. We're also seeing M&E opportunities coming up in the NGO. So you want to identify, as well as like country directors and whatnot. So you want to identify what transferable skills do you currently have in your government role, and how can you then utilize that in your NGO role. The other thing is that you in the government setting, I'm assuming that you've also have interacted quite a bit with stakeholders. So how good is your stakeholder management? Do you have any community engagement or even community management skills? Then let that come through on your CV. But definitely you want to rework your CV and make sure that it speaks to the NGO field. So the next question that we got was someone that has been affected by the whole USAID fiasco. So she asks, I would ask to help me secure a remote NGO job. I'm a project officer in a USAID project and I want to change. Being a project officer, my question to you is, what skills and capabilities do you have? I know it is so important that we actually get that very clear. So aside from that, what certifications have you done? Have you done PMP? Have you done Prince 2? Have you done anything on Scrum Master? Are you familiar with the whole blockchain ecosystem, Web3? Because I quite understand that you want to get into the remote NGO setting, yeah? But even as an NGO, they also have donors that they've got to report to. Yes, you've got the NGO experience, but as a recruiter, I would also want to understand, do you understand the money aspect of it? Do you have any financial management skills? Yeah. So that is what I would look at if I were hiring for a project officer. So first, get yourself some skills, yeah, which you already have. Let that come through very clearly on your CV. 2, you want to upskill and you want to work on your technical skills. Let that be very clear. And aside from just having it as, non-governmental, having the donor reporting, having community management, having all that. Also have a look at it from the corporate side. Yeah. So data driven decisions, financial management, all that. And so that you can position yourself as a holistic project officer. The next question was interesting. I felt attacked, kidding, as a HR. The community member asked, why do some HR don't know how to differentiate professional interactions and casual interactions? Now, I don't know if I can take the the fall for all HR professionals, but I actually do agree with you. I think for the longest time, HR has been one of those departments that, anyone thought they could do. So that could be the reason as to why we also find non-qualified people in HR. I'm not sure if that is the case at the moment locally. I'm not sure, I'm not working locally, but I can tell you this: in the remote setting, it is all like you land a job based on your credibility and not you knowing someone. Yeah. Or not you knowing how to handle conversations with people, or how good you are at interacting with people, and then they push you to HR. So unfortunately, yeah, your name, da 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 da. I don't have a straight answer for you. It is unfortunate situation, and yeah, that is all that I can say to that question. Let's move on. This member actually asks, is HR actually worth it, or should we upskill? My answer to you is, what exactly in HR? Because there are different facets of HR. So for example, there is people operations, then there is people care, and even within people care, there's still coaching, there's still performance management, there's change management, and then there's also talent acquisition. If you're asking me whether someone should actually get into HR, I would say absolutely yes, especially in the world of AI, like how you're moving, where your ability to connect with someone is going to be a sought after skill, or rather it is an already sought after skill. You definitely want to still stick to HR, but you do need to upskill. So in your case, I would want to understand, have you done anything on DEI? I know Trump and his people are trying to fight DEI, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. So have you upskilled in DEI? Are you a coach? Are you a mentor? Do you have those skills? How do you understand like employee journey mapping if you're in HR? Because it's no longer just getting someone on board, getting someone onboarded, taking them through their department, and then you let them be. The experience that employee has actually impacts their productivity. So try and look at it from a holistic point of view. And then, which facet of HR are you particularly drawn to? I would advise that if you're able to, please be a HR generalist, because in the future, we are seeing more generalists are going to be, and this is not just with HR, we're going to be seeing more generalists rising up in their careers, because when it comes to specialization, then one way or the other, we can incorporate AI to actually be a specialist. So if you want to kind of like beat the curve and get ahead of everyone, try and be a generalist if you're able to. So yeah, that will be my answer to you. It's definitely worth it, but upskill. So the other question that we got was from another member, and she asks, after 5 years in finance, I want to pivot into remote roles, open to entry level in tech. Is this possible? Can we just prefix by saying there's nothing impossible under the sun? I know it's so cliche, but yeah, there's nothing impossible under the sun. So yes, if you wanted to pivot from finance into the tech, I would want to understand, do you want to get into data entry? Because if it's data, whether it is being a data architect, being a data engineer, then that is such an easy win for you. That's like a low hanging fruit. But if you wanted to pivot from finance to, let's say, being a developer, or if you wanted to pivot from finance to get into cybersecurity, or you want to get into like cloud computing architect and whatnot, then I would say you actually need to do more than just upskilling in terms of taking the short courses that I'm always talking about here. You want to go ahead and do like a whole boot camp. And then I love the fact that you have already established that if you're going to pivot from finance into tech, that you're definitely going to start at entry level. So that is good. Yeah. But then you want to get yourself into the habit of doing pro bono and starting to work on your portfolio. So is it possible? Absolutely. Just let me know which area in tech do you want to get into. As a matter of fact, I dare say that, you don't necessarily have to pivot completely. If you're looking for opportunities in the tech industry because of how well they're paying, I would say you in finance, could you do a little bit more research in blockchain? Could you do a little bit of more research in the Ethereum industry and try and find out what value can you bring into that industry and see, because it's still in the tech industry nonetheless. Yeah, just you'll be working as a finance specialist or a finance analyst in the tech industry. The other question that we got was, I would ask my HR bestie to help me secure a job in the NGO space as a communication specialist or a policy analyst. Now, there's a lot of questions that we got around NGOs, and what you're going to be doing is we are committing for the next 2 weeks. We're going to be showcasing a lot of opportunities in the NGO sector, and we'll actually even have, like, on our filters, we'll have a filter that is NGO specific so that you guys can find these opportunities. To this person, I would say you definitely want to get your CV done. You definitely want to get your LinkedIn profile done. You also want to get your introductory video done. Then the reason why we're doing that is because you're working on positioning you for these opportunities. And then definitely head over to our website, because I've already made a promise to you that we're going to be showcasing more of those opportunities in the coming 2 weeks. So head on over to our website and apply. So the next question we got was, I would ask my HR bestie to review my contract before signing and negotiation. And if you ever need help, just reach out to us on our email and we'll definitely get you help. But it's really important for you to understand what exactly you're signing, what are your limitations as per your contract, especially in the remote setting where you are employed as an independent contractor, but even more so on your on-site company, on your on-site role. You definitely don't want to start working without having signed a contract. You definitely want to understand what are your privileges, what are your benefits that you're going to be getting when you're talking about negotiation. So sometimes it can be difficult for you to negotiate on the money per se, but you can negotiate on the benefits. So what you want to be doing, remote or on-site, is have a look at that company, Google it. What are some of the benefits that they are offering to their employees? Is it a car benefit? Is it a car allowance? Is it a fuel allowance? Do they offer airtime and whatnot? And you can use that to actually kind of like increase your salary per se, your ask in terms of benefits, when there's not so much wiggle room in the amount of salaries that they're going to be giving you. So yeah, definitely reach out to me. I will help you with that. Yeah. The other question that we got was, why the unfair recruiting procedures, especially for entry level? Now, I'm assuming that the question around entry level is because these days when you look at a role, like entry level has moved from 0 experience to 1 to 3 years of experience, and you're there wondering, you're a fresh graduate and you don't know where you're going to find these opportunities, or you don't know where you're going to find the experience rather. Yeah. So I would say take advantage of internship. There's so much time. Like, I remember when I was in uni, I didn't do my internship. So I did my project and I also did my internship, but I did that during my last semester. Yeah. I wish someone had told me then that from your first year, try and get something done. So try as much as possible. I know opportunities are also quite limiting, but at the same time, people are willing to have you come work for them as long as they're not paying you. I know of companies who actually pay interns like 5,000 as stipends. Yeah. So if you're able to get yourself an internship, please go ahead and do so and use that. The beauty with you landing different internships, whether it is 3 months, if you can cumulatively put them together and they're 1 year, then that is your experience. There's no time that is ever lost. So please go out there and do an internship, especially if you don't have experience. Get into the habit of investing your time into learning a skill. So what I mean by that is get comfortable with doing pro bono work. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. Because you don't have experience. Recruiters are looking for experiences. They really wouldn't want to know why you don't have 1 to 3 years of experience, yet that is considered entry level. So get yourself an internship and yeah, include that in your resume. Even if you have worked as a business person or you have like a shop. For example, in my case, I used to sell bags and shoes back in uni. Had I known that, that would have been part of my experience. So yeah, if you're doing anything in uni, you want to include that as well. The other question that was asked was, when a family forwards your CV, how should you answer the question, where did you hear about us? And I would want to understand, first of all, I'm assuming you are being referred by a family member and you're sending in your CV for this particular role. So the role, has it been advertised externally or was it advertised internally? If it is internally, then you've got a problem. Yeah, because the reason as to why most companies advertise internally is because they want to give their employees first priority, and they want to see if whether they can actually do like internal transfers first of all. Yeah, if it was advertised externally, then why don't you just put on Google there, or you just put on LinkedIn? If it was advertised on LinkedIn, it is absolutely none of their business. Yeah, unless there is direct conflict of interest, which shouldn't be. Yeah, it's none of their business which family member referred you this opportunity. So yeah, just put on plain old Google. That should work. Now, the other question that we've got was, what does getting PAP mean when you have actually been performing? And I think I did hint on this. Yeah, PAP, for those of you who might not have interacted with it or with the process, or you don't know what that means, PAP is Performance Improvement Plan. A good solid company is going to have a performance management system. And PIP is part of the process that actually companies input so as to manage performance of their employees. It could be managing them out or helping them to actually improve their performance, and then, like you reacclimatizing yourself back to the organization. So two ways, yeah. Normally, when you're conflicted, when you get yourself in a PAP situation, it could be one of two things. One, that your manager didn't discuss with you your performance metrics or your KPIs. Yeah, so that is key performance indicators. Your objectives weren't that clear, so you didn't really know what you're being measured against. Or two, you think that you're performing well, but you're not performing well. So there is some miscommunication in terms of you receiving feedback. Out of all those two situations, if you find yourself in a PAP, chances are, especially in a Kenyan market, chances are you're being managed out. Is it possible for you to go through a PAP and then come out successful out of it? Absolutely, it is. But please remember that the PAP is almost like a last resort. Yeah. So if you've been taken through a PAP, what you want to make sure you have is clear understanding of your goals and objectives that you're going to be measured against during this period. If you're in Kenya as an employee, you should not be on a PAP for more than 6 months. And during that 6 months, your performance should be measured regularly, and your supervisor should be present. They should actually be helping you to kind of come out of it successfully. Then you should also have a mentor that is assigned to you by the company. If there's skills gap that you had, that training will be able to fix that. You also need to be attending those trainings. So it's really important for you to understand what are your rights, especially in a PAP setting. It is very difficult for an employee, especially in the Kenyan context, for you to be fired based off of performance. The company needs to establish without any reasonable doubt that they did all that they could to help you within the 6 months period for you to improve your performance, which includes training, having a mentor, your supervisor assessing your performance during that time, whether the goals set were objective, whether they were, they could be achieved within that period. It is the responsibility of the employer to demonstrate that they actually did everything possible for you, and you just couldn't improve on your performance. So it's really difficult. It is one of those things that very rarely would you find someone, especially in well-established organizations, would you find someone being fired because of a PAP. Now, in the remote setting, it's a little bit different because, again, remember, you're going to get hired as an independent contractor. So chances are they're either going to give you like 2 weeks or 1 month max. And like I said, you still want to get very clear with your objectives and the time that you're being measured. And please seek regular feedback. It isn't the end of your life, because it could end in two ways. One, you could be off-boarded, or you could still remain in the company. So the end result of the PAP has a lot to do with how you perceive the PAP and whether there's an ego that actually comes into play once you're put in a PAP. So take note of that. Those are all the questions that we had for you today. And thank you so much for interacting with our post on YouTube as well as Instagram. We're going to be continuing this series of Ask Your HR Bestie. Yeah. I guess I will see you guys in the next one. Do let me know in the comment section, what did you learn in this video? And is there anything that you resonated with? And if you've got an Ask Your HR Bestie question, comment below and we'll get to it in the next episode. Thank you so much. Bye.